For today's In Focus, we travel to Nigeria at the beginning of the 20th century. Since the late 1800s, the British Empire had been fostering an increasingly powerful presence, but by 1914, Nigeria was formally declared a colony and protectorate of the British Empire. In 1939, British archaeologist Bernard Fagg went to work for colonial administration based in the town of Jos. One day, in 1943, he received a visitor brandishing a curious terracotta head. The visitor claimed that the object had been serving as the head of a scarecrow in a nearby yam field, and Bernard Fagg immediately set out to discover more. For several years he had been collecting other similar objects. One such terracotta piece resembled a monkey's head. Locals frequently uncovered these curios. The first such piece was found in 1928 during a tin mining operation. Bernard set up a base camp near the village of Knock and began to seek out, purchase, and otherwise excavate nearly 200 examples of this mysterious terracotta. They continued to vex him, however, as they belonged to no known African culture. They did have a series of diagnostic features, however. Elongated faces with protruding mouths, triangle-shaped eyes with slightly parted lips were common. All of the figures were incredibly detailed, showing elaborate jewellery and elegant hairstyles. All of this spoke of a culture where bodily ornamentation and display was very important. In several examples, animals are portrayed, or indeed being ridden by important-looking people. This led Bernard to wonder even more who had these people been, and more importantly, when had they been? Bernard resolved to answer the latter question by subjecting plant matter found embedded in some of the terracotta to radiocarbon testing. This yielded a date between 440 BC and AD 200. He later took the terracotta head which had been perched on top of a scarecrow and dated that, using the technique of thermoluminescent dating. This technique was able to analyze when the terracotta was probably fired in the kiln and yielded a date of around 500 BC. These dates confused Bernard further still, as so-called complex societies which could have produced such artwork were not supposed to have existed in this part of the world so early. And he was rendered even more aghast when he discovered iron-smelting furnaces, indeed 13 such furnaces on one site. The charcoal within was carbon dated to 280 BC. Excited and yet confused, Bernard would later write about this so-called knock culture, insisting that there was so much more to be learned. Due to political upheaval, it would be 40 years before archaeologists returned to that rugged plateau. A team of academics and ex-looters, led by archaeologists from Germany, are making leaps and bounds in the understanding of so-called knock culture. Their research has reinforced the now commonly held belief that West Africans moved straight from stone tools to iron without a copper or bronze age between. And analysis of the figures themselves have shown them to be even more specialized and intricate than previously thought. They hint at a nuanced society, possibly based upon a class structure. And analysis of the clays to make the figurines shows it to be remarkably uniform, indicating that all of the known figurines were made from a single, as yet undiscovered source of clay. This is even more remarkable when one considers that the terracotta is found in an area of 30,000 square miles. Knock society apparently came to an end around 200 AD, possibly due to an overexploitation of natural resources. We are only just beginning to understand the local artistic and technological legacy left by the Knock people. And for a long time, Knock culture was seen as a mystery, an anomaly, an improbable puzzle. But we are coming to understand that in West Africa, a little over 2,000 years ago, an astonishing culture flourished. And that this culture may have been lost to all, were it not for Bernard Fagg and his curious scarecrow head.